fabulous win for us. I don't think many teams in our league are going to come in here and win. And I think probably both teams saw a defensive style we probably weren't 100% prepared for. I think it showed at times. Unfortunately for us, Ethan has struggled shooting the ball in the last 4 or 5 games, but has stuck with it in practice and has been shooting well in practice. And we knew it was just a matter of time before something like this happened, and it happened at a good time for us because they really plugged things up inside. Made it hard to get Gregory and Doug the ball early. But Grant took advantage of the way they defended him, and Ethan made him pay. And then defensively, I thought we were decent until the last 4 minutes of the first half. Some offensive rebound opportunities led to some baskets and got them back in the game when we had them down 12. And then after, I thought the first initial onslaught, the first 10 possessions of the second half, I thought we defended pretty well. But anytime you've got Iki and Carmichael and Brown and none of them shoot 50%, you know you're doing something right.
Questions for the student athletes first.
Ethan, could you talk a little bit about your night and just coming out of the slump?
The last 4 or 5 games I coached, I didn't shoot the ball normally, but I'd actually been making a lot of shots in practice. So when I first got in, we called a play, and I got one to go, and as soon as I felt one feel good, I didn't think they got to me. The next time I just let them go, and I got them to fall early, and it felt good.
Grant, you guys haven't been in a lot of tight games this season. What does a win like this, especially like Coach said in this building, do for you guys?
Yeah, it gets our confidence going a little bit, and we weren't a ton of close ones last year though, and especially early on, won a few, and I think we're just comfortable in tight games and kind of that belief in each other and our togetherness. So obviously the first one of this year, but we played a lot with this group.
Could you talk about your taking advantage of your opportunities tonight? Obviously, with the way they were guarding you.
Yeah, they were sagging off me, and we've had some teams do that, and I just kind of got to pick my spots to look for open shots. I can make open ones. There's no doubt about that. And then there are a lot of advantages when people are going to play like that. I can see the floor a lot better. We can set those low ball screens and kind of get me in the lane. So you just got to make the adjustment. Teams are going to take away different stuff, but luckily we got a lot of options, and just kind of figuring out that game plan every night and where our shots are going to come from.
To both of you guys, to see that 12-point lead evaporate to 3 at halftime, what's kind of the mood at that point?
Well, you'd like to go into the halftime on a better note, but Coach, reiterated all week that they're a team that can go on runs like that. They're extremely streaky, and kind of be ready for those 9-10 point swings where they can kind of pile threes onto each other and go on those runs. So we're prepared for them to play that way. Obviously, going into halftime, not the way we wanted to go in, but I thought we made enough adjustments at halftime with what we did defensively to slow them down and eventually get the win.
On what Grant said, that's not exactly how we envisioned going into the half, but I thought we made the right adjustments at halftime and came out and did what we were supposed to do.
Take 2 more for the student athletes, if there's anything.
Again, just kind of reiterate just what getting the win here, being 2-0 against this team, just what that means at this point.
Well, I don't think a lot of teams aren't like they're going to come into here confident, and it was good for us to come in here early and not exactly play our best basketball, but find a way to fight one out of a tough game.
Anything else? All right, thanks, man. And I'll take questions for head coach Greg McDermott.
Greg, you got more points.
Ethan, you got radio.
You got more points in the paint the second half. Was that an emphasis?
Well, we were able to get into the teeth of the zone. They played man for the first 15 minutes or so and then switched to zone and really stayed primarily with the zone the entire second half. And I didn't, as I told the team in one of the last timeouts, I did not recognize our zone offense. It's not something that I'd seen in practice very often. I just didn't think we were very sharp. But finally, later in the game, we got into the teeth of it. Grant caught one in the middle, lost it, had a nice drive, and threw it over the top to Doug. And those are things that we usually try to do against the zone. And I just thought we were okay with just passing it around the perimeter. You can't attack the zone that way. And we were able to get in the teeth of it and get some easier shots. The reality of it, that zone slowed our tempo a little bit, and that's not exactly how we like to play. So we had to win a game in a way that we haven't had to win very many this year, which was good for us.
What about the defense and their possession when they were down by 3, had a chance to tie, and you kind of made them settle for an air ball 3 from the corner? Talk about how solid you thought your defensive rotations were in that play.
I wondered where that was most of the night. The guys were active, and obviously there was a sense of urgency there when you're up 3. So, we got to shooters. We switched some screens and tried to force them out. And, when we switched our big guys on to Tyler Brown, they did a good job staying in front of him and taking that 3 away. Our plan coming in is let's try to make these guys take the shots we want them to take instead of the shots they want to take. And there were stretches in the game where obviously their ability offensively was able to shine through because they're a very talented offensive team. But I thought there were also times where we made them take some challenge shots, and when we rebounded it, which we did in the second half, we were in much better shape.
You've never lost confidence in Ethan, but at the same time, to see him have a game like this, how much does that increase the confidence?
I think I told you last week there's a lot of things that keep me awake at night. His shooting isn't one of them. I think he's one of the best shooters in the country, and he just had a tough stretch. He had a little bit of an injury to his elbow, and that impacted him for a while, and that's gone now. And so I think he's back doing what he's going to do. But the reality of it is, you try to take Doug and Greg away. You got to give us something. And Austin had a great game with 7 rebounds, 7 points, 4 assists. Grant to get 16 points and 7 assists. When you don't guard a guy, you have to be smart to know how to play. Right. And we didn't guard their point guards. At times they made us pay with a couple threes, but I'm not sure they understood how to play when you're not guarded as well as Grant did. Grant made them pay for their defensive strategy.
Is that just his experience?
I think so. He's been there, and in defense of them, Grant's seen it before.
Right.
Teams have done that before. Try to figure out a way to keep it out on the inside and plug it up by not guarding Grant. And he's a good enough shooter if you let him shoot open shots. But I like the way he attacked early and got his baskets going to the rim early in that game. And it was a heck of a team effort. We got points from a lot of places. Gregory's been fighting strep throat. Wasn't himself totally, but I thought he made some big baskets at critical times. And there were probably 3 times tonight where we scored in the last 3 or 4 seconds of the shot clock. Relatively open shots, and it takes some poise to be able to do that.
Do one more question.
Greg, this is the first time you've gone against Dan Muller's coach team. Was there a big difference in the Redbirds tonight from what you guys have seen, especially last year?
Well, obviously they're playing more zone defense. I think that's the biggest difference. But they're playing fast still, and you can tell, much like last year's team, there's a lot of freedom for those guys to go make plays, and they're very capable of making plays. So I think he's doing a terrific job of putting his guys in position where they can be successful. And the reality of it tonight is it came down to a 2-minute